It's midday in Dakar. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. Opposition leader Ousseynou Dabo clinches UDP presidential ticket for 2026 ahead of high-stakes Gambia elections. President Mahama assures reintegration of persons displaced by insecurity in northern region of Ghana.
As I speak, we've given the security services the authority and the resources to begin to bring some of the displaced people back to their communities. And so we're going to work hard to make sure that we bring peace to Gonjaland. We need peace to develop.
In Côte d'Ivoire, executives of the opposition PDCI petition Abidjan court over the legitimacy of Tidjane Cham's party leadership. And Nigeria benefits from an €18 million EU-Germany 4-year program to boost rural agriculture in the country.
We see it as a transformative pathway to ensure food security, create jobs, reduce waste, and generate foreign exchange earnings through exports.
Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
My name is Sankule Janko, and thank you for joining our broadcast this afternoon. Newslink begins in the Gambia, where United Democratic Party UDP has confirmed veteran politician Ousseynou Dabo as his presidential candidate for the 2026 elections. Dabo secured a decisive 65 votes of the 75 casted in the party primaries, reaffirming his leadership despite the controversial withdrawal of Talib Ahmed Bensouda, the mayor of Kanifing municipality, and a rising figure popular among the youth. As the country prepares for the 2026 polls, Dabo's selection highlights both the UDP's desire for continuity and the internal tensions around calls for generational change. Well, Francis Boniface has the details in this report.
The veteran leader of the opposition United Democratic Party, UDP, Ousseynou Dabo, has officially been selected as the party's flag bearer for the 2026 presidential election. The announcement follows an internal vote where Dabo secured a commanding 65 votes, far ahead of his challengers, Bori Toure, with 8 votes, and Amadou Sane, with just 2. This marks Dabo's 5th presidential bid, having previously lost to both former President Yahya Jammeh and current President Adama Barrow, most recently in 2021. But Dabo's nomination hasn't come without controversy. A major development ahead of the vote was the withdrawal of a popular presidential hopeful and mayor of Kanifing, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, who also resigned from his executive position within the party. Analysts said this departure signals a deepening rift within the UDP, particularly given his strong grassroots support and national appeal. His exit could fracture the party's voter base, especially among young and urban voters, raising questions about UDP's unity going into 2026. With rising public frustration over governance and a strong desire for change, Dabo's nomination might appeal to those nostalgic for seasoned leadership. Yet, early polls suggest that if Dabo contests, President Barrow remains the likely victor. This puts the UDP in a difficult position. While Dabo is a symbol of party loyalty and experience, some question whether he is the candidate to galvanize the new voters or break through to swing constituencies. As the Gambia inches closer to the 2026 elections, the political landscape appears increasingly polarized. Will Dabo's persistence finally pay off? Or will internal cracks and voter fatigue open the door for Barrow's re-election? Only time and the Gambian electorate will tell.
Francis Boniface with that report. In Côte d'Ivoire, Tidjane Cham's legitimacy as leader of the PDCI continues to be contested. 2 activists from the Democratic Party of Côte d'Ivoire are once again taking the matter to the Abidjan court or first instance to remove the financier from the party's leadership. The case will be heard on October 2nd. The plaintiffs' section leaders in Tanda and Soba are requesting the cancellation of the 9th extraordinary session held on May 12, as well as the appointment of an interim president. They claim a violation of Article 41 of the PDCI RDA statutes and Article 8 of the 1993 law on political parties. Christopher Atichi completes the story.
The plaintiffs, section leaders in Tanda and Soba, are requesting the cancellation of the 9th Extraordinary Congress held on May 12, as well as the appointment of an interim president. They claim a violation of Article 41 of the PDCIRDA statuses and Article 8 of the 1993 law on political parties. According to them, Tijani Chiam does not meet the eligibility requirement, particularly 10 years of seniority within the political bureau and exclusive possession of Ivorian nationality. They claim that the former investment banker, who became French in 1987, would thus have automatically lost his Ivorian nationality under the Nationality Code. Beyond this issue, they denounced serious irregularities during the Extraordinary Congress, including the absence of a nomination convention, the lack of transparency regarding the list of delegates, and the failure to elect the Congress office in violation of several provisions of the internal regulations. Furthermore, the plaintiffs denounced the absolute incapacity of the party president, whom they accuse of having been absent from the national territory for more than 6 months. This summons comes just days after the Constitutional Council rejected Tijani Chiam's candidacy for the October presidential election due to irregularities on the electoral lists. Pending the court's decision, the president of the PPACI and PDCI's main ally within the Common Front, Laurent Gbagbo, has begun consultations.
A report by WDR's Master Assistant Play in Abidjan, voiced by Christopher Atichu. Still with issues related to elections in preparation for the constitutional referendum scheduled for September 21, the distribution of voter registration cards has officially begun throughout Guinea. With less than 2 weeks to go before the election, the process is generating mixed reactions among citizens. Voters are split between satisfaction and concern. Abdullah Hassan has the rest of the details.
At the Dar Salam 1 polling center in the commune of Ratoma, a suburb of Conakry, many voters report receiving their voter cards without any difficulty. This is the case of Suleiman Kamara and Al-Hassan Sise, whom we met outside a distribution office. At the Labani polling center, the situation is quite different. Here, some voters report serious difficulties. Amadou Bailo Diallo claims to have been unable to find his card despite several attempts.
I have not yet received my voter card, as there are currently a large number of people picking up theirs, so I'm still waiting. Fortunately, the cards will be available until September 20th, even on the day of the referendum itself, so I have some time. Once I get my card, I intend to vote, and I'll be voting no because I'm not satisfied with the provisions outlined in this new constitution.
Other Guineans report errors in the recording of their personal data, including misspelled names, incorrect polling centers, or missing information. Faced with these malfunctions, the General Directorate of Elections reassures voters and indicates that they will receive their cards before Election Day.
WDR's Chondo Alpha Ibrahim Baldes report, voiced by Abdullah Hassan.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Ghana's Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Blackwar has expressed gratitude to Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire for their support to thousands of Ghanaians who fled recent ethnic clashes in the Savannah region. He says the assistance demonstrates true Pan-African solidarity, even as some West African states step away from ECOWAS. From Accra, Nadi Dictator reports.
Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Blackwar has held constructive telephone conversations with his counterparts in Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire to discuss the care and safety of Ghanaians displaced by communal conflict. In a post on social media, he explained that both countries have shown exceptional hospitality in welcoming over 14,000 refugees despite recent political shifts that saw Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger withdraw from ECOWAS. According to the minister, the talks resulted in a clear plan of action, ensuring displaced citizens are properly assisted until they can return home, convening urgent meetings between the two countries' foreign ministers and Ghana's embassies to coordinate welfare measures and preparing for his upcoming visits to Ouagadougou and Abidjan. to meet the affected nationals. Mr. Ablakwa noted that his counterparts, Burkina Faso's Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré and Côte d'Ivoire's Kaku Houadja Leon Adom, have pledged to personally accompany the Ghanaian delegation on these visits. The foreign minister emphasized that President John Mahama's government remains committed to protecting all citizens, both home and abroad, and called for lasting peace in conflict-prone areas. The recent ethnic clashes between the Gonja and Brefo communities in Ghana's Savannah region claimed at least 31 lives and displaced nearly 50,000 people. Over 13,000 sought refuge in Côte d'Ivoire, while about 1,000 crossed into Burkina Faso. Relief efforts continue, but aid agencies warn that conditions remain precarious, with urgent needs for shelter, food, and medical support. For WADR, Nadiri Tete, Accra.
Well, still in the communal conflict in the Savannah region of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama has described the development as worrying. Speaking late Wednesday at the media engagement to assess his administration 9 months after taking office, Mahama outlined efforts to restore peace to the area.
And so we've put in a mediation team. We mentioned the members. The 2 MPs are supposed to be ex-official members. If you look at the terms of reference in the mediation team, there's also reconciliation. So we're giving them the full authority to meet both sides, to perform purification rites, to cleanse the land of any blood that has been spilled and all that, and then to come out with recommendations how to improve relations between the 2 groups so that they live in peace. There are few feudal practices that have been complained about, where people are called to chiefs' palaces and shipped, or they are forced to give up their animals and things. We need to look at all those practices too as we go forward. We're in a modern society. And so even though I haven't visited yet, as I speak, we've given the security services the authority and the resources to begin to bring some of the displaced people back to their communities. And so we're going to work hard to make sure that we bring peace to Gonjaland. We need peace to develop. Savannah is one of the poorest regions in the country, and so we must rather be fighting poverty rather than fighting each other.
Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama speaking there. The European Union, Germany and Nigeria have launched a major new program to boost agriculture and strengthen food security in Africa's most populous nation. Worth over 18 million euros, the initiative targets key value chains with aims of cutting food imports and creating jobs. In Abuja, European and Nigerian officials described the new project as a turning point for the country's rural economy. The 4-year initiative known as the EU Vase Tag, the project will be implemented in 7 states of the Federation and focus on 4 crops and products: dairy, cocoa, tomato and ginger. Our correspondent Usman Omar reports.
EU Ambassador to Nigeria Gotia Mignot said agriculture remains central to unlocking Nigeria's economy but continues to face major challenges, among them climate pressures, poor infrastructure and limited processing capacity.
By strengthening these value chains, we are investing not only in Nigeria's agricultural future but also in the livelihoods of women, youth and vulnerable groups across the country.
Germany is co-financing the project through its development agency GIZ. Speaking at the launch, Deputy Head of Mission Johannes Lehne assured that the new program would modernize Nigeria's agriculture, reduce losses after harvest, and restore the country's competitiveness.
We are supporting Nigeria's farmers and businesses not only to thrive at home, but also to compete again in global markets. This effort is therefore crucial in creating a decent work opportunities and, as a result, addressing the root causes of also irregular and brain drain migration.
Minister of State for Agriculture Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi called it effort-making, noting that Nigeria spends $1.5 billion every year on dairy imports, despite its livestock potential.
We see it as a transformative pathway to ensure food security, create jobs, reduce waste, and generate foreign exchange and through exports.
The beneficiary states highlighted in the project are Kano, Kaduna, Nasarawa, Kebbi, Plateau, Oyo, Ondo, and Cross River states. The EU Vase Target project, anchored on 4 pillars, policy reform, technical support, access to finance, and climate-smart agriculture aims to support cocoa farmers in meeting new European environmental standards, improve tomato irrigation systems, and strengthen resilience in ginger production, as well as create jobs for youth and women. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
You're listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Opposition leader OSIWA Dabo clinches UDP presidential ticket for 2026 ahead of high-stakes Gambian election. President Mahama assures reintegration of persons displaced by insecurity in the northern region of the country. In Cote d'Ivoire, executives of the opposition PDCI petition and Abidjan court over the legitimacy of Cham's party leadership. And Nigeria benefit from an 18 million euro EU Germany 4-year program to boost rural agriculture in the country. Still ahead in the news, we also have the press review and guest interview. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
In Benin, the Council of Ministers yesterday adopted the draft budget for 2026. This is the last budget bill under President Patrice Talon's administration. The bill aims to consolidate the country's economic transformation and strengthen social spending. Imo Edet tells us more.
Following its adoption by the government, the latest budget under Patrice Talon will soon be submitted to the National Assembly. The draft bill provides for an estimated budget of over 3.7 billion CFA francs compared to just over 3.5 billion in 2025. The document also forecasts a controlled inflation rate of around 2% below the WEMU Community standard of 3%. For 2026, the Beninese government is forecasting growth of 7.5%, driven by a dynamic agricultural sector, growing industrial activity, increased port traffic in Cotonou, and the development of tourism. The draft budget aims to strengthen social spending. Thus, spending is expected to represent 42% of the general budget, including initiatives in health, social protection, human capital development, water transportation, and digital technology. Regarding security, a 3-year plan from 2026 to 2028 will be implemented, providing for the installation of video surveillance systems in major cities and the reinforcement of the defense and security forces with high-quality equipment. This text will be presented to the deputies by the Minister of Economy and Finance, Ramad Wadani, who is also a presidential candidate in the April 2026 presidential election.
Imo Edet filed that report. The government of Liberia and Rwanda on Wednesday signed the establishment of a joint permanent mission of cooperation and reciprocal visa waiver agreement. The ceremony held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Liberian capital, Monrovia, strengthens the diplomatic and economic partnership between the two nations. The establishment of the Joint Permanent Commission of Cooperation provides a structured framework for regular consultations, joint planning, and coordinated implementation of various initiatives. WDR's Monrovia correspondent Abraham Parker reports.
At the signing ceremony, Rwanda's Foreign Minister Olivier Ondurunjirahe highlighted the importance of strengthening cooperation to address shared challenges and capitalize on opportunities for growth. He noted that the agreements would pave the way for greater interaction among citizens, boost tourism, and foster a deeper cultural connection between the two nations.
Our African spirit to improve free movement of people on our continent, and we have also signed an MOU on Joint Permanent Commission, which we hope will structure our cooperation. We have now have the tools to move forward in our cooperation, and we hope that we will sign or explore other areas.
Liberia's Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti underlined the strategic value of these accords, emphasizing their potential to open new paths for collaboration across critical areas such as trade, investment, education, and technology. She remarked that the agreements symbolize a joint dedication to sustainable development and the enhancement of mutual understanding.
The African continental to a free trade area, for us it's an opportunity. The important thing for us here today is to show that Africans can do it. We can work together, we can cooperate, and we can ensure that we advance our various agendas.
Of particular significance is a reciprocal visa waiver agreement, which is anticipated to promote exchanges between individuals, facilitate business travel, and support academic collaborations, ultimately contributing to a dynamic and interconnected relationship. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
While crossing into Sierra Leone, a recent survey reveals that nearly 60% of Sierra Leoneans have thought about immigrating. The data published by Afrobarometer shows the primary motivations for living are to seek better employment opportunities and to escape economic struggles. According to the research network, those most likely to consider immigrating include highly educated individuals, the unemployed, and younger citizens. The March-April 2025 survey also reveals that North America, particularly the United States or Canada, is the preferred destination for most prospective immigrants. However, the current American government of Donald Trump, citing concerns over high visa overstay rates in June, imposed a partial travel ban on Sierra Leone. Among the migration destinations, Europe ranks second for about 1/6 of Sierra Leoneans wishing to move abroad.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
Let's join our Accra correspondent Nadi Tete for the newspaper review from Ghana.
Greetings, welcome to the newspaper review segment. We'll start off with the Daily Graphic newspaper, State of Emergency Last Resort. That's according to the president in the fight against galamsey, and he said this during his media engagement yesterday. Now to the Ghanaian Times newspaper, Biodiversity Destruction, Ghana loses $520 million annually. That's according to the UNDP. Also, fire raises 8 houses and warehouse at Latebiokoshi. And struggling state-owned enterprises need government attention. Economy expands by 6.3% in Q2 2025. That's according to the Ghana Statistical Service. The Daily Guide newspaper front page, Baumia slams NDC over power abuse. Other stories here. 4 arrested with 315 parcels of Indian hemp, and GTech shuts down 149 unaccredited learning centers. Now to the National Enquirer front page, Mahama reassures Ghanaians, outlines bold development agenda. Also here, Ghana condemns Israeli attack on Qatar and calls Grow for NDC to consider Opong Fusu as Mahama's successor. The Daily Democrat newspaper front page, government demolishes illegal Trasako wall, Islamic school children unhappy, and Gold Board reports $6 billion small-scale export. The Chronicle newspaper front page, ex-Niger Delta militant group members arrested for allegedly plotting to embark on kidnapping business in Ghana, and military invade Manso in Patuim as residents flee for safety. We'll wrap up with the Overseer newspaper. We can trace you. Mahama calls for regulation of social media amid rising threats and incitement. And finally, 2 billion Ghana cedis set to improve Ghana's health infrastructure by 2028. That's according to President Mahama. That'll be it for the newspaper review segment. It's back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Nadi Tete, our Accra correspondent, with a newspaper review from Ghana.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Well, let's remain in Ghana in this guest interview segment as Foreign Minister Samuel Okwadzo Ablakwa expressed deep gratitude to Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire for their swift support to thousands of Ghanaians who fled ethnic clashes in the Savannah region. He described the gesture as a clear example of true Pan-African solidarity, a powerful message at a time when some West African countries are distancing themselves from ECOWAS. So what does this mean for the future of regional cooperation, especially in the face of shifting alliances and political realignments? Joining us now is Dr. Vladimir Antwa Danso, a seasoned international relations expert and former director of Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy. He will help us analyze the significance of this moment and what it says about the strength and limits of regional unity in West Africa.
Regional solidarity is very, very important for regionalism, for good diplomacy, good neighborliness. And so this show of solidarity is very, very important so that these countries, adjacent as they are, will support each other in a positive way when it comes to such things. In the past, Ghana has supported also Liberia, Sierra Leone, and vice versa. So Cote d'Ivoire, for example, had a whole lot of problems 2010, 2011. And there was an influx of Cote d'Ivoirians in Ghana, hundreds of thousands of them. And Ghana housed them. The rapport between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire helped in softening the issues, and Ghana helped in regularizing the problem in Cote d'Ivoire. So this kind of support must be praised and must be commended very seriously.
And what do you make of Burkina Faso's stance as well, despite the fact that you're aware that they'll be withdrawing from the ECOWAS officially this month, but they still were very supportive to Ghanaian nationals during these difficult times?
In diplomacy, it doesn't matter even if your enemy is just adjacent to you. Venezuela is having a big problem. Cuba, big problem with the USA. But then it didn't mean that the people-to-people kind of diplomacy had to be abandoned. These are inhabitants of another country close to the borders, and therefore supporting one another has nothing to do with the different kind of beliefs, ideologies maybe of those countries. So in spite of the differences in ideology, differences in the type of governance, we need to support each other when it comes to such situations. So I'm not surprised that Burkina Faso also decided to give that support that we all were expecting.
In the future, for example, what impact does Burkina Faso's ECOWAS exit could have on such humanitarian collaboration, for example?
This gesture goes to cement the fact that in future we will be supporting each other irrespective of our differences. It could be that we are different from different regions. Let's take Chad, Cameroon, and Nigeria, for example. They are adjoining countries, and they belong to different groupings. Nigeria belonging to ECOWAS, Chad and Cameroon and others belonging to the ECAS, Economic Community of Central African States. So it doesn't matter whether you are from a different community or whatever it is. Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali have formed a new community. And if they don't come back to ECOWAS, yes, we should really continue to have good relationship with them because we are within the same contiguous area. So this gesture, as we are talking about, goes to cement the fact that irrespective of the region where you belong, we can.
Well, that was Dr. Adwa Danso, Vladimir Danso, a seasoned international relations expert. And of course, with me in the studio, I have Imo Edet, who is a lover of sports as well.
We're
Imo,
here.
Tell us what's happening in the world of sports.
Indeed. Hello and welcome to Sport News. Well, let's begin with some volleyball news where 9 countries are gearing up to compete in the upcoming African Youth Volleyball Championship. Now, the participating teams include Egypt, Nigeria, Cameroon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Morocco, Rwanda, Tunisia, Zimbabwe, and South Sudan, which will be making its first ever appearance at the Continental Sport Tournament. In the meantime, veteran sprinters Benjamin Azamati and Joseph Paul Amoa headline Ghana's 8-member team for the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. Azamati will run in the 100 meters and 4x100 relay, while Amoa focuses on the relay. Well, national 100-meter record holder Abdurrashid Saminu makes his debut after clocking 9.84 seconds in July, the 7th fastest time globally this year.
That's interesting news there in the world of athletics. I look forward to Tokyo. But quickly before I let you go, Imo, of course, we've seen the 8th match day of the African nations, vying for a place in the World Cup. And we've seen some Senegal, they were very interested. They came from behind to win against DRC. But Nigeria, oh boy. And 1 second, what are your chances?
Well, I think
it's believed that now you are hinging on a miracle.
Yes, we are. And that miracle will happen.
That miracle will happen.
It will happen. We'll go to the World Cup.
How?
We will go to the World Cup.
Well, let's see how that turns out. Thank you very much, Imo, and then with the sport news. Well, this concludes this edition of Newslink here on West African Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for tuning in, and a special thanks to Mustafa Second Ismaila Kamara for the technical support. Connect with us on our social media platforms, X and Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook, WADR English Service on live. And listen to us live at WADR.org. Coming up immediately after the news is WADR's Environment Program Enviroscope, and Abdullah Hassan is ready to take you through Africa's renewed climate ambitions at the second African Climate Summit. I am Sankule Janko. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM, Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.